My beloved child, there are days when the sky of your life seems strangely clear, when everything outwardly appears to be in its proper place, and those around you may look at you and think you are at peace, fulfilled, with no reason to be troubled. But I see what human eyes do not see. Even within that outward smoothness, there remains inside you a very slight tilt, like a vessel placed on a floor that seems firm, yet is in fact resting upon a thin crack. Do not be quick to condemn yourself as ungrateful, simply because you cannot fully rejoice in what you already have. Do not be quick to think of yourself as weak, simply because, when the storms outside grow quiet, you begin to hear within you the murmur of a deeper movement. There are forms of unrest that do not come to destroy you, but come like a bell I allow to ring. So you may recognize that the calm you are holding is not always the peace I give. A house may be beautifully painted on the outside while its foundation still needs strengthening. A garden may be full of green leaves while its roots are still thirsty. A life may seem to lack nothing before the eyes of the world, while the heart is still weary because it has not been rightly placed in my source of life. You often try to explain that emptiness through things you can touch. Perhaps your work is not great enough. Perhaps your love is not deep enough. Perhaps others do not understand you. Perhaps you need one more achievement to feel that you are walking the right path. But my child, what you lack is not always one more new thing on the outside. Many times, it is a return to the holy order I placed within you from the beginning. When you live too long trying to make the surface of your life look beautiful before others, you may forget that beneath that surface, there are still currents that need to be illuminated by me. You smile. You fulfill your duties. You answer that you are fine. But I hear even the sighs you hide behind closed doors. I do not reproach you because you are tired. I do not distance myself from you because you do not yet understand everything that is taking place. I draw near to you in the very moment when you cannot name your own trembling. To tell you this, you have not slipped from my sight. You are only being invited to step deeper into the truth. Therefore, when there are nights you cannot sleep, though no great event has happened, when your mind is tangled like a thread pulled in many directions, when a small word is enough to make you ache, when things that once stirred your joy suddenly become pale, do not be quick to cover it all with noise. Do not use busyness like a cloth thrown over an altar that needs to be cleansed. Do not let shallow conversations, passing images, and one plan after another make you forget that I am knocking very gently at the deepest place within you. Sometimes that unrest is my hand placed upon your shoulder, not to frighten you, but to keep you from continuing down a familiar path that seems safe while drawing you away from the direction I have prepared for you. I do not magnify the battle so that you may live in trembling, but neither do I hide it so that you may sleep inside the shell of a false peace. You are valuable. Therefore, there is contention around you. You carry within yourself a calling. Therefore, there are forces that seek to make you forget where you belong. You have been placed by me on a meaningful journey. Therefore, even the days that seem ordinary are not ordinary in my eyes. Remember the prophet Elijah, the one who had stood amid great events, who had witnessed my power revealed in mighty ways, yet who also came to a point of exhaustion beneath a tree, wanting to give up because fear and loneliness had covered his heart. Do you see? Even one who had walked in sacred fire could become so weary that he could no longer clearly discern tomorrow. I did not come to him with heavy rebuke. I did not command him to stand up immediately in order to prove his faithfulness. First, I let him rest. I gave him food. I let him sleep. And then I led him to the place where I wanted to meet him. And when the strong wind came, when the earth shook, when the fire passed by, he learned that not every loud sound carried the fullness of my gentle presence. I came in the still small whisper, in a silence deep enough for the heart of a weary man to hear a new direction. That story is placed before you today. Not so. You may look at Elijah as a distant figure from ancient times, but so you may understand that I still deal with you with the same mercy. I do not despise your exhaustion. I do not overlook the small cracks in your heart. I do not force you to pretend to be strong when you need to be held and guided. From that place, I want you to learn the difference between stability and peace. Stability may come when things are temporarily not colliding, when no one disturbs you, when no storm rises before your door. But my peace is deeper than that. It stands firm even when you do not yet understand everything, because it is not founded upon circumstances but upon my presence. There are seasons when I allow you to see the gap between those two things, so that you will stop confusing a life with fewer troubles for a life that is truly guarded in the light. You may have a steady schedule and still be losing direction. You may be praised by many as being fine and still be drying up in secret. You may not be committing any obvious mistake and yet slowly drifting from what I have long been whispering to you. Therefore, the uneasiness you feel is not your enemy. If you bring it before me, it will become a doorway. Through that doorway, I will teach you to look again at what you are pursuing, what you are avoiding, and what you are using to replace my call. My beloved child, there are things in your life that were not given for you to hold with trembling hands, but so you may learn to place them into my care. You often think power means being able to control every direction, keeping everyone from leaving, making every story end according to your will, having answers for every question and a plan for every event. But I teach you a deeper power, the power to release what is beyond your portion, to stop before a door that is not yours to open, to entrust to me the hearts you cannot change, the conversations you cannot heal, the misunderstandings you cannot untangle in a single day. You are not weak when you stop trying to hold the whole sky in your arms. You are becoming wise when you place that sky into the hands of the one who created it. There are fires you pass through, not to burn you, but to burn away within you the habit of living as though everything depended on your own strength. So when you walk through the scorching days of trial, I do not call you to prove your strength by speaking much, winning arguments, or explaining endlessly. There are times when your holiness is not found in your defense, but in the tenderness you are still able to keep when you are misunderstood. There are times when your victory is not making others bow their heads and admit that you are right, but allowing love not to be extinguished within you. You do not need to turn every encounter into a courtroom. You do not need to stand in life like someone who must constantly defend your worth. I know you. I see you. I understand even the roads you have not been able to tell anyone about. And when I understand you, you do not need to exhaust yourself, begging every other gaze to confirm you. Love, my child, not a rushed, weak, undiscerning love, but a love rooted in me, a love that knows how to release, a love that knows how to set boundaries, a love that does not turn you into a rescuer for every person who is drowning. Remember that I was with you in the fire, not always by explaining every spark of heat, but through a presence that did not depart. There are seasons when you ask for an answer, but what I first give you is myself. There are times when you want me to silence every noise around you, but instead I place within you a stillness deep enough that the noise no longer rules you. You once thought that if I loved you, I would quickly take you out of the fire, but then you will understand that there are fires which, when I step into them with you, are no longer places of destruction, but places where you come to know how near I truly am. I do not rejoice in your pain. I am not indifferent to your tears, but I know what the fire cannot take away when I stand with you in it. The fire may make you tremble, but it cannot separate you from my hand. The fire may make you weary, but it cannot erase the calling I have placed upon your life. There is an ancient story I want to set before you, like a lamp in the night. when 3 young men were thrown into the furnace because they refused to bow before the golden image. They were not spared the heat, nor were they led onto an easier road. They stepped into the place that should have swallowed them. Those looking from the outside saw only punishment, ashes, and an ending. But in that furnace, there was one present with them, so that the ropes were burned away while they themselves were not consumed. What appeared most terrifying in the eyes of the world became the place where a mysterious companionship was revealed. Do you see? I am not only the one who stands outside the fire and calls you out. I am also the one who steps into the middle of the fire, so you may know you have not been abandoned. And many times, the first thing burned away is not you, but the cords that once bound you, fear of people, obsession with being recognized, the need to control, dependence on praise, and the feeling that you are only safe when everything is easy. From there, learn another way of walking. Do not pray that your life will never meet fire again, for you are living in a world of many changes, many collisions, and many things that do not go according to your desire. But do not let that thought make you afraid either. You are not called to flee every trial. You are being taught to pass through them with your hand held tightly by me. There will be days when you face misunderstanding again. There will be times when you do what is right and are still doubted. There will be seasons when you love deeply and are not answered as you hoped. There will be doors that close before you, even though you have prayed and tried. But in every turn, I do not disappear. In the place where you think there is only burning heat, I will be your shade. In the long night when you think no one hears, I will be the gentle voice calling your name. In the moment when you do not know how to continue, I will not throw you a cold map and tell you to figure it out alone. I will walk with you, step by step, stretch by stretch, breath by breath. And when you have passed through, you will recognize that a very different kind of peace is being formed within you. It is not the softness of a day that has never known wind, but the steadfastness of one who has been kept by me in the midst of the storm. It does not boast loudly. It does not need to prove itself. It is not easily broken by sharp words or sudden events. It knows what fear is, but it does not kneel before fear. It knows what pain is, but it does not allow pain to become its master. It knows what weariness is, but it knows where to lean. My child, that peace does not come from being exempt from every wound. It comes from meeting me in the place where you once thought you could not survive. When you know that I am your refuge, you no longer need to beg life never to rain again. You only need to know the way back beneath my shelter. Therefore, do not let the coming days make you panic. I look into your future, not with anxiety, but with a smile full of mercy. Because wherever you go, I already know. Whatever you encounter, I have already prepared grace. Every turn that confuses you, I have already stood there before you. Your future may not be the smooth road you once hoped for, but it is full of my footprints. I am present in every choice that requires wisdom, in every farewell that requires courage, in every trial that requires endurance, in every moment when you must remain silent so love will not be wounded further. You are not thrown into life like a child abandoned in a wide field. You are called by name. You are guided. You are held by the hand. And even when you do not feel that hand, I still do not let go. My beloved child, there are places I lead you into, not so you may be exposed before the eyes of the world, but so you may be covered in my tenderness. Not every healing takes place in a crowd. Not every tear needs to be witnessed by others. And not every wound is allowed to become a story for curious eyes. There are things too fragile, too deep, too long-standing, that need to be placed in a small room of grace, where the noise of judgment is left outside, where hasty words are not allowed to enter, where you do not have to strain yourself to appear stable. I closed that door, not because I want to hide you as something shameful, but because I want to protect you like a father holding his child close when strong winds pass by. You are not a spectacle for the world to evaluate. You are my child, preserved by my mercy. In that quiet room, you will realize that my presence is not like the voice of the world. People may ask too quickly, advise too hastily, touch too harshly, and conclude too soon. But I know how to sit beside you without frightening you. I do not force you to open everything in a single moment. I do not pull away the curtain from the places you are not yet brave enough to look at again. I am simply there, so near that even silence becomes comfort, and precisely when you no longer have to keep playing a role, no longer have to answer that you are fine, no longer have to prove that you have overcome. Then the things that were buried begin to rise gently, not to condemn you, but to be touched by me, not to hurt you further, but so old pain may stop ruling the way you see yourself, others, and me. You once thought you were hiding from me, but in truth, many times you were only hiding from memories that had not yet been healed. When I called you near, you heard that invitation through the ears of old years. You thought I too would be disappointed, would speak harshly, would leave if I saw that you were not good enough. The marks from your early days taught you a sorrowful wisdom. Stay silent so you will not be scolded. Take care of yourself so you will not bother anyone. Hide your needs so you will not be seen as weak. Smile lightly so you will not have to explain why you are hurting. You learn to live like a child sitting in the corner of a room, holding tightly to a pillow, thinking that if no one saw you, then no one could hurt you anymore. But my child, what you call self-protection has often become a lock that keeps you in loneliness. I do not come to snatch that lock from your hand. I come so you may know that outside the door there is not a threat, but the Father who has waited for you a very long time with inexhaustible patience. So, do not be afraid when I bring you back to old places in your memory. I do not lead you back so you may relive pain as a sentence, but so you may see that I was present, even in the days when you thought you had been left behind. There are words from long ago that still echo in you like the sound of a door slamming shut. There are looks that once made you shrink, making you think you were a burden, a disappointment, something not worthy enough of love. There are moments so small that others have forgotten them, yet you still carry them like stones in your chest. I know every one of those stones. I know the day it fell into you, who placed it there, and why you did not have the strength to throw it away. Today I do not blame you for carrying such weight for so long. I simply stretch out my hand and say, let me remove them one by one, without haste, without roughness, without making you ashamed because you were hurt. Remember Hagar in the wilderness, the woman who once fled from the place that wounded her. She carried fear, loneliness, and the feeling that no one saw her. In the dry land, when there was no crowd to defend her, no hand to hold her back, I met her. I did not call her with contempt. I did not overlook her tears. I let her know that she was seen, heard, and counted in my plan. That story is not far from you. There have been times when you too were like Hagar, leaving places that hurt you while still carrying the pain with you, stepping out of an old circumstance without yet stepping out of its echo. And I, the one who met Hagar in the lonely place, also meet you in your closed room. I do not need an audience in order to reveal mercy. I do not need a stage in order to heal. I only need you to allow me to draw near to the place you still think no one should touch. In that safe place, you do not need to explain your trembling. I understand why even a gentle word can startle you. I understand why you stay silent when you could have spoken. I understand why you try to make everything perfect, as though one small mistake would cause love to be withdrawn. I understand why it is hard for you to receive kindness without suspicion, hard for you to rest without feeling guilty, hard for you to believe that you are loved even when you have not accomplished anything remarkable. Those reactions are not your true nature. They are old garments you put on in order to survive seasons that lacked tenderness. But you do not need to wear them forever. In my hands, you are learning another way to live, not from the fear of being abandoned, but from the certainty that you belong to me, not in order to constantly defend yourself, but in order to grow under protection, not through silent vows that you will never need anyone, but through the courage that comes from knowing you are upheld by me. I cover you as a potter covers soft clay from dust and wind. When the work is not yet finished, the potter does not place it in the road for everyone to touch, judge, or compare. He brings it into the proper place, keeps the temperature just right, turns it with knowing hands, and touches the uneven parts without breaking the form that is taking shape. So it is with you, my beloved child. I am reshaping within you the parts bent by pressure, softening the places that have hardened through self-defense, supporting the places that once collapsed from lack of love. No one has the right to step into that process with a disrespectful voice. No one has the right to turn your wound into a reason to look down on you. No one has the right to touch your pain with a hand that has not been purified by kindness. I am the one who guards the door. I know who may come near, when they may come near, and how that nearness can happen without wounding you further. Then there will come a time when you realize that the closed room is not a place where you are imprisoned, but a place where you are restored, so that one day you may step out without bowing your head as before. When I close the door, I do not cut you off from life. I create a holy space where you can stop living under the authority of old voices. I teach you to discern between protection and avoidance, between rest and giving up, between silence for healing and silence because of fear. In my presence, you are allowed to cry without being considered weak. You are allowed to tell the story without being pressured to forget quickly. You are allowed to admit that there are still things that ache without being forced to feel ashamed. And when you admit this before me, the light begins to enter the inner rooms that were once locked shut. My child, I am not ashamed of you. I do not turn my face away from the unfinished parts of your life. I do not love you less because you are still in process. On the contrary, precisely in the place where you think you are hardest to love, I place the most tenderness. Come near to me in that small room. Let the rules fall away. Let your trembling hands rest. Let the child within you stop having to hold a pillow alone in a dark corner. I have seen you for a long time, and I do not come to scold you for being afraid. I come to sit beside you, call you by name, open each layer of the door with love, and teach you that from now on, you no longer need to protect yourself through loneliness. Before me, you are safe. In my hands, you are healed. Under my covering, you grow, not in the noise of judgment, but in the holy breath of a presence that never leaves. My beloved child, there are movements in your life that do not come like a violent wind overturning everything, but like the quiet dawn drawing the night away from the horizon. When I shift you, I do not necessarily shake everything around you. Many times I simply redirect your attention. Lift your eyes from the small things that have kept your head bowed for too long, and place before you a space wider, brighter, and deeper. Do not fear that change, because what comes from me does not steal true peace. It only reveals where true peace truly is. Peace is not everything remaining still as before. It is not you clinging to a familiar place because you are afraid to step forward, nor is it escaping every collision. Peace is knowing that I am going before you, knowing that the door I open does not need to be broken by your own strength, knowing that my shifting does not throw you into chaos, but brings you into a higher order. There are days when you think you are fighting diligently, but in truth, you are only spending your strength on specks of dust passing before your face. A passing criticism makes you stop and defend yourself inwardly. A look without tenderness causes you to think about it all day. A negative thought appears, and you sit down to converse with it as though it has the right to decide your destiny. You chase away every small noise, every little doubt, every hidden comparison. And by the time I call you to look up, you are so tired that you can no longer clearly hear the trumpet of purpose. My child, I do not blame you for trying to resist the things that hurt you. I only want you to recognize that not every noise deserves to receive your entire day. Some things are only dust on the road, not a battlefield. Some tiny needles are not worth making you forget the great gate that is opening before you. I am leading you out of the margins of distraction and placing you in a wider place. You are not called to live forever in the loop of small arguments, not called to prove your worth before every person who fails to see you rightly, not called to win every minor battle while losing the strength meant for what I have entrusted to you. You are called to stand at the gate of favor, where new paths open, where new encounters are arranged, where the atmosphere around you is changed by my presence. When the door from heaven shifts, blessing does not remain still like stagnant water. It flows. It seeks a place where the heart is ready. It seeks one who is no longer busy clutching fragments of wounded pride, no longer allowing small piercing words to determine direction, no longer tying life to the noise at the edge. Many times you have bent down to count the pebbles beneath your feet, while before you lies a road stretching toward the place I have prepared. You worry over every small scratch on your shoes while I am calling you into a great journey. You hear the rustling of dry grass and mistake it for the sound of battle, while my army is waiting in the wide field. Do not let trivial things dress themselves in importance and steal your holy focus. Not everything that irritates you needs to be answered. Not every person who misunderstands you needs an immediate explanation from you. Not every criticism is a command for you to stop. There are voices that exist only to keep you close to the ground, while I have placed within you the ability to see the sky. Remember Nehemiah when he returned to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem. The work before him was not small, for the city lay broken. The people were weary, and the opposition kept trying to distract him. They called him down to the plain to talk, to delay him, to pull him away from what had been entrusted to him. But he understood that if he left the wall merely to answer a false invitation, the work would slow, the people would grow discouraged, and the purpose would be diluted. He did not come down to satisfy every invitation. He did not turn every provocation into a meeting. He remained with what was essential. Do you see? His victory was not only in completing the wall, but also in recognizing which voice came from me and which voice was pulling him down into distraction. In the same way, you need to learn that wisdom. Great. Not every open door is a place you must enter, and not every voice that calls your name deserves your turning. When I move you into a new season, the things that once bound you will begin to lose their weight if you do not continue giving them the power to pull you back. Old weariness is no longer allowed to rule your new day. Memories that once made you shrink are no longer allowed to write the laws of your future. Judgments that once rang loudly in your mind will grow quieter as you place your ear closer to my voice. You will see new faces brought into your life. Not so you may become dependent, but so they may walk with you at the right time. You will meet new doors, not so you may become proud, but so you may recognize my generosity. You will see favor come, not because you chased it in anxiety, but because when your heart opens, the flow from me finds a place to pour down. My blessing does not need you to beg in panic. It needs you to stand in the right place, in the right posture, with a heart not locked by fear. Therefore, stop confusing mental busyness with faithfulness. There are days when you think you are being careful, but in truth, you are being spun around by things that carry no life. You replay something someone said, dissect a gesture, guess the meaning of a silence, and call it discernment. But true discernment does not wear you down in darkness, it draws you nearer to the light. If a thought only makes you smaller, more bitter, more suspicious, and farther from love, bring it before me. Do not build a tent inside it. I do not call you to become a prisoner of endless conversations within yourself. I call you to be a gatekeeper, one who knows what may enter, what must remain outside, and what must be entrusted to me without your needing to touch it anymore. Beloved child, the shift I bring does not rush, but it carries power. It does not push you to run like one afraid of being left behind. It invites you to walk like one who knows you are being led. You do not need to frantically search for every sign in order to feel certain. You only need to keep your heart tender, your eyes watchful, and your hands from gripping old things too tightly. There are doors that open only when you stop trying to open the doors I have closed. There are favors that come only when you no longer keep standing before yesterday's noise. There are great victories that begin only when you stop spending your strength answering every little sting. I do not want you to live like someone always trying to put out every spark that lands on your garment, while before you there is a great lamp waiting to be lit, so many may see the way. Lift up your eyes, my child. Do not let the pebbles beneath your feet make you forget that a city gate is opening. Do not let voices at the margins make you miss the place where I am calling you to stand. Do not let small battles exhaust you before you step into your true assignment. I am ahead of you, not distant, not cold, but like a father who goes before to look at the road, prepare a place, and turn back to offer you his hand. The future does not need to frighten you, because it is not empty of me. The new season does not require you to cling to old chaos just because it feels familiar. When I shift the gate of heaven over your life, let your heart become an open place, open to receive, open to go, open to release, open to love, open to live according to what I have placed within you. And when blessing begins to flow, you will understand that what I desire is not only to bring you beyond the small things, but to lead you into a spacious place where my name is lifted high, where light spreads outward, and where you walk no longer with your face bowed down, but steadfast in my true peace.